Hello, and welcome to Legal Environment of Business. I'm your Professor John Harvey, and here we are in week 6. So we are plowing through the semester. Glad to see everyone's ready for this week. This is a big one. We've got the test this week. So we also have chapter 10. So you have one chapter, and then I try to give you a little bit of break so you could study and get prepared for this first test. Now, let's talk about Chapter 10 first, and then we'll talk about the test. Chapter 10 is on crimes. So in Chapter 6, we talked about torts, which are crimes against other people. Chapter 10 is where we're talking about crimes against society. And these are the crimes that you normally hear about. So these are the felonies, the larcens, the stealing, the burglary, the misdemeanor, all that kind of stuff that you hear in TV dramas and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to run across all of these words and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I totally heard that. I've totally seen that in, a movie or whatever. And so all of these should be somewhat familiar, but now you're getting the context of where we're at with this. So these are crimes against society. And also the chapter goes into cyber crimes. And I kind of went on about that last week when I said, it's not really, it's not mature. But in this chapter, you're going to actually see some of the crimes and the types of crimes. I think the book does a good job of showing how little we actually have in terms of enforcement for these things. But you'll get the idea of, hey, if someone steals my privacy, hey, if someone cyber squats, or someone, steals my intellectual property, via my website, or, that kind of stuff. You'll see all this kind of cyber crimes. And maybe some of these will be familiar to you as well. So this one's more like this general connecting the dots chapter for you guys, where you're going to say, oh, I'm familiar with this stuff. This is the kind of crime stuff that I'm normally that I think about. And now you understand that's different than torts, that's different than contracts, that's different than all these other intellectual property, other things that we've talked about. And so it's a good chapter. I think you'll like it. And it should provide some good insight for you in terms of, like I said, connecting the dots. Now, that being said, that's chapter 10. And so then we also have the test, and the test is over chapters 1 through 10. So you have a lot to review. I realize that's a lot of chapters. What I would tell you is you can relax and take a deep breath, because my tests are very similar to my quizzes. So it's multiple choice. Sometimes I throw in a true false, that kind of thing. Very straightforward. You don't need to go to a testing center. You can just take it like you would a normal quiz. My intent is that you would not use the book, but you can use the book if you have to. I mean, I'm not going to require one way or another on that. And I didn't put a time limit on the test. So for those that are kind of nervous about tests and feel like they need to take the time, you are able to take as long as you need. What I would say is that your browser and Blackboard have a habit of dropping after a certain period of time of inactivity. So you have to be aware of that. So I do have students on occasion saying, hey, I was in the middle of the test and then it just kicked me out. So that kind of stuff does happen. So don't take 3 days to do the test or something. But you should have, it's up to you to create your environment and, manage your time and get through the test. And you'll find that it's very similar to what I had for all these other quizzes. So that should help you guys this week. Now, let me also explain a little bit about this wiki kerfluffle that happened. So I was going through and grading the participation in determining the case that your group was going to answer questions on. That's worth 25 points out of the 100 points. So that is a chunk in and of itself. That's done and over. So if you didn't participate and didn't chime in with your other group mates, then you will have gotten at most 75 points on this assignment. You won't be able to get those 25 points saying, hey, I'm participating now. I don't care. You were supposed to participate in determining the case, and if you were late or didn't see that, I did put a 0 in your grade. So that's what that is. But back to my point, I did put those grades in, and I went through everybody's and didn't realize that it was erasing all of the individual chapter wiki grades that I've been putting in. So for that reason, I had to kind of reorg things, and I apologize for the confusion. I caught it as quickly as I could, and I made 2 columns. One is for the group assignment. The other one is for the chapter wikis. And so you may be like confused that you're only getting 35 or 45 points out of 140 when you're looking at the chapter wikis. And that's just me counting how many participations you've done for each chapter. So every chapter is worth 5 points. You can see that on the syllabus. So that grade or those points will add up over the semester. And so if you responded or worked on every chapter, every wiki chapter, you'll get the full 140 points by the end of the semester. So that's how that's working. But again, this goes back to what I tried to warn you about last week, is you can't look at your percentage of your grade and say, how come I'm failing? How come I'm doing so bad? You have to look at your total points and say, there's 1,000 points in the semester, where am I at, right? That's the point that you need to look at. So don't get hung up when you're only at 45 points out of 140, or you've only got 25 points out of the 100 for the case assignment. That's just where we are in the semester. You'll see those other points are coming up. So take a look at that. I apologize for the confusion. But I think we're on the road now. You guys should be able to very clearly see where your points are. And like I said, good luck with the test. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as you can enjoy a test. And let me know if you need anything else. Have a great week, guys.